Dave, good
Daniel,
morning.
hello.
We talked too much in the pre-show, which no one is allowed to hear because it contains our deepest, darkest secrets. So I'm going to intro us right in. Hey, welcome to Waiting for Review, a show about the majestic indie developer lifestyle. Join your scintillating hosts to hear about a tiny slice of their thrilling lives. I'm Daniel, a duck-faced poet, and I'm here with Dave, the meddler of pixels. Join us while waiting for review.
I thought you were going to say Mewing Champion 2025 after we were pulling faces.
Oh, I'm going to add that to the document.
No. Yes, behind this beard, if you're watching on the YouTube, there is a steely Chad-like chin. No, there's not. Let's move on.
How's it going?
It's going well. Yeah, it's excuse me one second. That was my cat just coming into the room.
Is it also
she won't want to come? Yes,
mewing?
actually,
Mewing?
she was the champion last year.
Oh, nice.
No, she's
strong competition.
Not going to come on camera. She will scratch me if I pick her up. She likes just being in a bed. But no, I think things are going well, Daniel. We can talk about it in a bit, but I am deep down the rabbit hole of my crazy can I make a GUI myself idea that we have spoken about before.
And you posted user interface videos, and these are like way further along than I thought you'd be at this stage, which is really impressive.
Yep. But if we talk about it now, I will absolutely chew the whole show up with it. So let's talk about some other things, and you can come back to me on that one in a bit.
All right.
Tell me about your world, dude.
What is my world? So I have returned from vacation where we actually recorded an episode on the island of Mallorca, but that episode didn't see the light of day because of some technical difficulties. But it was pretty fun because to get enough bandwidth, what I did was I sat on the terrace on the ground floor, because that's where the desk was, like an outside kind of table in the sun. It was really nice. But then I had to put my phone, I put it on the rooftop because that's where I could see the 5G tower and then Wi-Fi beam like the signal down.
And it worked.
Laptop.
It worked. And we recorded up until the rain kind of meant you had to scrabble to get your phone, if I remember rightly.
All right.
But
yeah, everything survived. I did spend a few 100 kilometers in the saddle of a bike. That was really nice. And now I have returned to rainy Hamburg, which is giving me a pretty good fall. Like, if you like fall, this is the best kind of fall that you can wish for. Like lots of golden sun rays, like hitting the red and yellow trees. I have these huge windows in my office, and I have like some refracting stickers on them, so I get like some tiny rainbows sometimes. It's really nice.
Oh, I love that.
Still, it is a bit too wet for outside biking, so I went to the indoor gym and had put up the indoor bike and everything again. So yeah.
Alrighty. So you're in, was it Goom? Do you mean Gaim?
Like, it's not even a gym, but like, I don't know, like I love pronouncing things incorrectly. Like I'm using a new tasks software these days called Todoist. And so I'm thinking about going to the gym. Probably gonna be a home gym, because otherwise like biking in a mask is increasingly unpleasant.
And winter time coming up, you definitely need to keep that stuff at bay, because who needs to be laid out for a week?
Exactly. But I also need to exercise this sexy physique, because otherwise it's gonna deteriorate. So that's there. I'm finding ideas. I have news.
Give me your news.
I don't really have new telemetry things to talk about, because I haven't really worked so far a lot. The newest feature is we have single sign-on, but it looks like butt. So it works, but it needs a few more providers, and it needs a
Yeah.
bit more user interface. But yeah,
So that's on
it's
its
fun.
way. That's
It's on
really
its
cool
way.
though, because that
Um,
enables corporate stuff, like bigger
right.
stuff.
Also
Yeah.
enables, I don't know, login via GitHub. So if you don't want to register with your name and your email address and everything, it's just click one button. So it's kind of nice if you like GitHub.
Yeah.
I wanted to come at you with the combination of two of my hobbies, which is Apple has bought the exclusive rights to broadcast Formula One in the United States.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah. So going forward, I think even like starting next season, which starts early next year, Apple will be the ones you have to pay if you want to watch Formula One in the United States. So this doesn't affect me
Dang.
directly, but I
No.
think it will affect the world of Formula One. And also it's a bit
Yeah.
interesting to me at least because they paid a lot of money, and like we're starting to see like from people who are in the US actually like, how that's going to work.
Yeah.
The link that I posted doesn't. Okay, I'm gonna find out like how much they paid, but they paid like a lot of money, and
Yeah.
what is interesting is also like they said like people were wondering like how will this affect things, like because for
Yeah.
Formula One itself they have a really good streaming service. You pay not a lot of money for them, and you have a lot of access. Like you can select all the onboard cameras from all the cars, and you can select different streams with different commentators and stuff like that. And so
Right.
that's pretty cool. And so my first instinct was to think, oh, this is going away because, for example, in Germany,
Yeah.
Sky Sports has the exclusive rights. So legally, I don't know, not legally, but so the Formula One streaming service called F1 TV is actually not being offered in Germany for live streams. But of course, if you have
Right.
a Dutch Apple account, you can still like download the app. So
Life
somehow,
hacks. Yeah.
because for example, Sky Sports doesn't give you all these options. With Sky Sports, you pay like way more money, you get ads,
Yeah.
and you can only watch them live. Like you can't
And you
time
get much
shift,
less.
you can't switch your perspective, you can't watch older
Right.
races.
So I'm just looking at this article now, and it's kind of cluing me in a bit. So you've got this new broadcast agreement will see Apple TV host all free practice, qualifying, sprint sessions, and Grand Prix, select races, and all free practice sessions will also be available to watch for free in the Apple TV app. It then goes on to say F1 TV Premium, which I believe is what you're referring to, F1's own premier content offering will continue to be available in the US via an Apple TV subscription only.
Right. And so now it's
So
come out
that's the
how that will
shift.
actually
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Which is like previously you had the F1 TV app, and you would just like
Yeah.
subscribe inside of that app, either
Hmm.
using the App Store or going to the web, and then on the web you could like, just enter your credit card details.
Yeah. And then you can log in after.
Apple, by
Yeah.
the way, paid 630 million US dollars. No,
Damn.
wait, that's the wrong number. That's the wrong number. No,
Hmm.
ignore that. I saw a number and I quoted it, but that is not what they paid. That's what the F1 movie grossed.
That's what it's grossed.
Grossed.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like it's probably more than that they will have paid.
I thought
But
less. Okay, I can't do research and talk, so I'm gonna like look it
no,
up.
don't worry
You will
about it.
find something online. A lot of money.
But I think it's interesting to me in a sense of I wonder how many people will get an Apple TV because of this. Like,
Right.
will they do that because of this? Does the subscription sort of model line up to kind of incentivize that? Like, if you get a Apple TV and it comes with a free year's worth or 6 months worth or whatever it is of Apple TV, as a new customer, like I see that as probably being part of um, the deal for Apple, if you like, is that they're going to gain a bigger customer base because of it.
Yeah,
So
probably. Like so,
strategically, it makes sense.
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, they also did produce or publish the F1 movie, which also was
Mhm.
surprising to me. Like that's like if you go to the cinema or watch it like now on streaming, there's a big fat Apple logo in front.
Yep.
And so like the F1 TV app informed American customers recently that they would no longer be able to renew their subscription. So the yearly subscription
Mhm.
would run out at the end of the year. And that to continue watching inside the F1 TV app, they would need to have an Apple TV subscription.
Right.
So it seems like there's going to be a period where they kind of where we can still watch inside the F1 TV app, but
Yep.
just like your Apple TV subscription will be recognized somewhat.
Dang. If I was
Um,
an Android user and I was fundamentally opposed to having to do that in some fashion, because I assume this will apply across
mhm.
the board, I'd cancel my subscription if possible, and then renew it just before it shifts over. So then you've got
Oh
like
no, but like
a
at the
year's
same
worth
time,
of that.
you couldn't create new subscriptions. Like
Right.
starting now,
Okay.
you
So
can
they've shut
only
that door.
like
Yeah.
if for some reason you wanted to watch half of the season starting now, then
Hmm.
you would also already have to pay via Apple TV. At the same
Dang.
time, Android does have Apple TV apps,
Yep.
and also like I assume there would be some way of authenticating. But
Yeah.
I'm still interested also like how this is going forward. Eddie Q gave an interview, and he
Hmm.
said they have big plans because they say Apple says sports broadcasting is bad, and they have ideas on how to make it better.
Okay.
And they
There's
have,
a
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, how would they make it better? What would they add here? And I think I know. I think I know one angle this could come to, Daniel.
Is it the Vision Pro?
Yes. Yes. Did he say that?
I I haven't looked at the whole interview to be fair. I
Okay.
don't think he said anything about future plans as Apple is wont to do.
Hmm.
But that's just like when the Vision Pro came out, they had like example apps for Formula One as well, where you could see
Yeah.
like the big screen, but also like a map of the screen and stuff like that. And I mean that's kind of neat. But at least for
Yeah.
me, like watching Formula One is a pretty communal experience. Like I rarely
Hmm.
watch Formula One alone. Like either Alex is with me or I'm inviting a friend and they're like sitting on the couch with me, or because it's like the half of the fun is making fun of what's happening on the screen, right? Because like
Yeah.
it's not a very serious sport in the it's like why is my emotional support millionaire driving a circus slower than your emotional support millionaire? That's the whole like premise of the thing. It's drama and everything, but like it's really cool to like it's not as fun to watch it alone as with people. But
No.
with Vision Pro, you have a thing on. The other thing that I'm kind of afraid for is a thing called Multiviewer, which is a third-party application that is just like free from the community, where you it kind of pretends to be the F1 TV app and just like slurps down all the streams, the live streams.
Hmm.
But you can combine like on this for your Mac, you can have like a big screen with the main TV feed, and then like your three favorite drivers onboard cameras and a track map overlaid and the timing screen all at the same time. It's all synced.
Right.
And so that is really cool. And I'm kind of afraid for that app now because that is very much for the hardcore people. Like if I watch F1 alone, that's usually how I do it because then you can look at
Yeah.
all the nitty gritty details and the timings and everything. So
Dang.
yeah, things are changing, and
They are
it's
indeed.
gonna be interesting. And
Uh,
it's somehow I am kind of like, hey, Apple, get away from this hobby that
yeah. But on the other hand, I can sort of see like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to really get too deep into sort of guessing what it would be, but like I can see the tagline of like, you know, Vision Pro and Apple with the F1 putting you in the driver's seat, you know?
right. Yeah.
And yeah, and then some of the immersion that you could potentially get from that could be quite cool. It would be counter to some of the social aspect that you're describing, but like, um, you know, there's definitely a niche there, I think, for that sort of thing, and especially for sort of like post race moments and things like that as well. Yeah, and then of course there's also the possibility, I guess, of like having all sorts of information, you know, with the main view in the middle and speeds and things like that, dashboard side around you floating in sort of AR 3D space. That it could be cool. I'm sure they've got plans for something in that regard.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, yeah, but no, definitely a bit of a first, I think, for one of our
Yeah.
tech giants making a move like that. Um,
It's interesting. Let's see how it goes. Like it's a weird combination. Like for me, like I'm not saying like this is weird for Apple. I think it makes business sense for them. It's just like weird to see these
yeah,
things combined.
uh,
But enough about that, I think, because I really want to talk about your user interface experiences.
okay. Yeah, so I've shared some videos lately, and I can certainly link those up in the show notes from my Mastodon or my Blue Sky. Hey, I'm back on Mastodon again, kinda at the moment.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm there as well. I mean, I never really let go fully, but I'm mainly just posting about my apps these days, which is totally relevant for this podcast. So that's cool. But yeah, where am I? So was I just at the idea phase when we were talking show before last because of the one we missed? The one that didn't go out?
I think so. Like show notes
Yeah.
says, Dave is starting on another journey. I think you were at the ideas.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. You were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
how could this be? How could this work? Like, what would
Yeah.
the stack look like? You said
And
something
you
about Skia.
yeah. And I was probably still looking at I am GUI at that point as well, and
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
just
That's the name
that
I
sort of
found really
initial bit.
funny
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I am
It's
GUI
actually
too.
it's actually called Dear I am GUI. It's really cute. It's like Dear I am GUI.
Oh.
Um, but no, I think, and you roasted me hard on that last show, Daniel, if I remember rightly too, which I fully deserved because who, flips their proverbial at a liquid glass messing their UI up and then decides, right, that's it, I'm going to go and make my own UI then. Like, yeah, and that's a fair inquiry, but where I'm at the moment, because I really wanted to pull this thread, right? This is absolute dopamine for me, and just I'm living my best life, having fun. I did a proof of concept with Dear I Am GUI, and I managed to get a canvas loading in in the app, in a test app. That involves setting up like a build system to build the C++ library, turn it into an XE framework, then pull that through into a Swift package that then sits on top of it. And what I did with that is I started the beginnings of my SwiftUI Lite DSL. Um, and I got that to a kind of working stage, but underneath everything was still sort of quite class based, and it wasn't very composable. Which, of course, if you're doing a SwiftUI like thing, it's going to be, you want it to be composable. You want to wrap things inside of other things and add modifiers and all of those sort of things. And what I found was that as I started to extend out that way, the limitation of the GUI that I was using sort of became apparent. Like, it's great for what it's used for, which is debug menus in games and sometimes actual menus in games and other controls. And some people do use it for full-on apps as well on desktop. Uh, but I was going to have to override an awful lot of default behavior to really get it to behave in this flexible way that I wanted, because it's widget based, and everything sort of sits around its own internal thing. And then somewhere along the way, it hit me. Well, Jetpack Compose, it used to be Flutter as well, but Flutter's using something different now, along with Google Chrome and a bunch of other things, sit on top of this library called Skia. And as I
Which
understand
is,
it,
by the way, what I eat most mornings instead of yogurt.
okay, yeah, I do not know what that is, Daniel, as a
There's
food.
a Nordic type of yogurt called skier. Skier.
Okay.
Sorry.
Fair. Things you learn. No, so Skier, I guess to give a very brief explanation of it, it drives the drawing on the GPU.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a whole load of nice commands and a rendering system, but it's C++ based. So again, I'm in that territory of I've got that wrapped as into a framework, wrapped as a library that's pulled into a XE framework, and I now have my DSL on top of that. And the way this has sort of started to come together is I've focused on, right, I want to display some text on the screen. Okay, I've now got a text object. I want to be able to lay them out on the screen. So now I want a VStack. Oh, and by the way, let's make that into an HStack as well. And so on and so on. So I've now got VStacks, HStacks, and ZStacks. I've got a scroll view, which took ages to nail down.
Yeah.
I've got buttons. I've got conditionals, so you can do like, if this value is that, then don't display this thing or this thing. And I've even got a system where it's not quite bindings, but it works like bindings. So I can have state in the view that persists beyond that single view's render.
How does that like? How can you like give like a super high level, like just 3 sentence overview? Like, I wouldn't even know how to build such a thing. How would you build such a thing?
How would I
Bindings.
build such a yeah, so it's a property wrapper. Underneath breaks out into a getter and a setter. And then what happens is that it's also got at the moment, like a singleton based registry system. The views themselves have IDs, and when that property wrapper gets engaged, it then works with the singleton to say, hey, do we already have something associated for this particular thing relating to this view? If so, then we'll pull it out of the cache. We've now got this there. And when the when something operates on it, like a slider or a slider or a toggle switch, technically they have a callback mechanism underneath for executing that gets pulled into the state wrapper and associated with that cached value. And so that then has the effect of the toggle, for example, calls its callback to switch of a bound value that it's been given. That then updates the value back in the cache, and then when the view gets rendered, it gets the new value. So you'll see the view change based on that. And then there's a whole
Also,
other system of
it's
of
not
that.
publish subscribe as in like the
No,
value will then
no,
push out. So like the view gets, because the view gets re-rendered every frame.
that's right. It doesn't need to be. And so this is where it's then starting to become the thing that I am that makes it different. So why do I want this? I want this because I want my UI to be very, very responsive, as close to real time as possible for swipes and slider changes and that sort of thing, because it's going to drive real time video effects and potentially audio as well. So yeah, I'm then able to cut some of the observability and reactive side out and use kind of older mechanisms in some ways. But what I'm doing is I'm wrapping them up with syntactic sugar so that as I'm writing the view, it kind of looks like SwiftUI and I feel like I'm in my happy spot, because I don't want to have to define
Awesome.
callbacks in every single view. I don't want to have get a setter logic that I'm constantly having to type out or whatever. And I've got a whole other thing where this can be abstracted into a view model that buys into the same system. And you can send the $sign property of a view model into a thing in the view. It behaves as you would expect. But that then means I can have my view models work a lot more typically where they can work with async await and background actors and that sort of thing as necessary, but then update the values back to the properties and the view will then respond. So if I do need something that takes a bit of time, it lives in the view model and I get all of that there. But then if it's something that needs to be instant, like changing the parameter on a video effect, it can shoot straight into the video pipeline, you know, within that same render or millisecond or however you want to put it. It's
Nice.
tick based underneath,
Tick.
basically. Yeah.
But is it like smart about it? Like, does it re-render every single pixel, regardless of it if it needs re-render or not, or is
At
it
the
like
moment,
smart?
that's what I'm working through. So you end up
Uh-huh.
in a position of you can, and you probably should, in a pure like immediate mode, like absolutely by the book. It's like it's rendering everything. And so when you change some value, it's just a function and it's getting called on the render cycle. But I'm in this sort of hybrid world, right? Because I don't want to do that fully because it's going to thrash the heck out of the battery.
Yeah, that's what I was
And
suspecting.
I don't, most of my apps, if you were performing with them, you would be plugged in, but I don't want to rely on that. And you know, people are just going to noodle on their phones and,
Right.
you know,
Also, you want
that's
to keep
normal.
as much performance as possible for the actual things, right?
Exactly.
For the actual effects and
Exactly.
stuff.
Yes. So at the moment, my render times are very quick, but my calculation time for everything on the screen is something I need to optimize. So where I'm going right now is having a concept of, sounds really silly, but gets referred to as like dirty. So you flag
Mm-hmm.
a region or a view or something that's changed as now needing to be updated. It's dirty. And then that will recalculate and potentially escalate up and down the scene graph depending on what has changed. So
Right.
if you imagine you've got, you know, a view has suddenly got bigger inside of its parent and now other things need to push, it'll be able to sensibly go up and again mark those things as dirty as it calculates out and up and re-render those. And what I'm exploring is, can I also then, rather than just not re-rendering to keep stuff left alone, can I engage with a caching system with Skia that is performant and is optimized already and link everything through to that, so that I kind of don't need to care about how it works under the hood because other people cleverer than I are dealing with that, and then that handles all of that. But can I use that for my system to sit on top of?
Right. Sounds
Yeah.
pretty cool. Have
So
you
yeah.
reached the part where you decide to build a shadow scene graph yet?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, I have. And I've got scene identities and all of those sort of things. And actually, what I'm exploring at the moment is how much of that do I really need? Is there uh, a route through the sort of optimization that I'm trying to do where I don't have to retain too much? And also, how do I keep things separate? I don't want to be using singletons for everything, so I have to have a concept of context that's being given to things that it's running in so that I can have separate contexts if I want to that are, you know, running. Because, for example, I may want at some point, there could be a world where I want to wrap this inside of something in SwiftUI even and have a normal app around it. I doubt it because I'm kind of going all out to just be one thing. Um, and also I've got to make sure of other things like my full screen video out is going to be part of the same system to some degree, but it shouldn't be affected by changes going on the device in any way. It should be just left to render as it is. But that could be another optimization. That could be taking the mixed output and just rendering entirely to a full screen thing, and it sits outside of the DSL even, if that's more optimal. So these are
Right.
sort of choices I'm getting. Like, I'm not there yet, but I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to do, Daniel, is sort of grind through some of the basics and get the bits of Lego working, so it looks like something that I want to write in. And then I'm kind of grinding off bit by bit some of the optimizations. Yeah, I'm trying not to get too deep into, right, okay, now I've got to build an app with it. At this stage, it's, am I building it so that I can make an app with it? There'll come a point where I've sort of reached like, okay, I need to jump off Lego brick mode and start plugging stuff together more. I mean, I've got a test app that has all these different scenes and things in it. But that's not there yet. That's like, if I reach that point by Christmas, I'll be happy. I'm expecting to have a few go rounds of some of these deeper concepts along the way, but we'll see. I mean, like I say, it's leapt along in the last few weeks. Yes, I'm using Claude to help me along the way. That has probably helped quite a bit, actually. So yeah, because if nothing else, I've been able to describe what I'm trying to do, and then I've then used their AI tooling to go and research it for me, compare it to SwiftUI, compare it to Jetpack Compose, and that's how I'm picking up some of these concepts, sort of firsthand, if you like, or first time round. Because I knew roughly where I wanted to head, but I didn't have the depth of domain knowledge. So I'm kind of using the AI tooling to help me gain some of that as I kind of iterate out.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. This will be able to run on both or on different platforms, correct?
Eventually, that's the hope. Yeah. So I have deliberately held off from installing the Android Swift runtime and trying to see if I can do it, because I know that it's going to have paper cuts and edges, and then I've not even got the DSL finished yet. So I'm kind of, let's get this working to a stage I'm happy with. Meanwhile, I can see on the Git repository and everything for all of that, people are working through various small issues and bits and bobs with it. So I sort of feel like, give it another month or two, and it will probably be the optimum time for me to go, okay, let's give this a shot. But in theory, the way I've got it abstracted out, I should be in a position to compile Skier in a very similar way, call it from my DSL, and then the next bit of work will be fixing whatever breaks in the library I've built, because there'll be things that aren't supported, I'm sure, or don't work quite so well, and wiring it up through the JNI and probably through a compose view that then gives it the canvas to draw inside of. So, and obviously I'll have to wire up touch events and things like that. Yeah. Oh, and I've got to do all sorts, Daniel. There's so much on the way. Like, do I want animations? Of course I do. Do I want some form of sheet?
But then you need a shadow graph.
Potentially, yes, or at least a value that's being updated over time, that's getting that's getting refreshed. You know, so there might be other mechanisms for that. Yeah, like, you know, if something has a dirty flag or a animation is running flag against it, then of course it's going to get rendered, and then it'll just pull the latest value of where the animation is to change how it's moving. Again, I'm picking this up as I go, so I'll tell you in another month or two. Yeah.
Fair.
And I don't want everything to look just like SwiftUI and iOS, right? I'm building this to be a framework for real-time video mixing software, for audio-related software. It's going to look closer to a virtual synth in terms of UI eventually. I mean, it doesn't right now, because I'm kind of, the easiest way for me to visualize the problem and go through this is to say, let's make a toggle button. What do I want it to look like? Well, I want it to look like iOS's toggle button. Okay, cool. And then I can kind of build this knowledge up before I'm then in, right, okay, how do I now use this tool to make it look more skeuomorphic, to look more like what you would expect for, you know, sliders that look like audio, real life hardware audio mixer sliders, for example, with the bars on them and a groove and maybe an inset. That's going to be its own rabbit hole. So I'm sort of putting that again down uh, after seeing if I can make it run on Android. Then I go out on how do I then make this look the flavor I want.
That sounds
So
fair. Yeah.
yeah, and I want it to run on Windows if possible eventually as well. So I'm keeping an eye on how viable that is. And there's Linux, but I don't see Linux as being a big market for what I want to do. Like I think it will be a market.
Mm-hmm.
But Windows, Mac, and iOS and Android, I think I can be satisfied with that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, yeah. Uh, it's it's been a
It's an
journey though, dude.
exciting. It's gonna be an exciting journey. I'm kind of like, oh, this is cooler than I thought it would be. I need to roast you more often, is what I'm thinking.
Oh, you do. You absolutely do. There was definitely that motivation of like, I'll show Daniel, you know?
Because yeah, you what you're doing right now is spite-based development, which is the best kind of development.
No. I mean, I said to you at the time, I wanted to do it because I really wanted to do it. You know, like it's not a sensible indie software house decision in some ways. But also it's not sensible for most types of apps, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're building a to-do list app or a fitness tracker or whatever, you should just live in the native frameworks. There's no point in doing something like this. But if you look at least within desktop software, especially, how some of these sort of applications, in the sense of what I like to build, work, a lot of them are using stuff that is close to this, or they have their own version of it. Because then, yeah, you've got this this much more real time kind of way of working, and you've also got something that is a little bit more sheltered from the changes of the platform as well. Uh, like Ableton has pretty much looked the same, give or take tweaks and progressions for like 20 years nearly now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess that's the world I'm heading towards in one way or another, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that. I wonder if this is gonna be like how this is gonna be shaping out once it's like a bit further. So yeah,
Yeah. Well,
gonna be
I will
exciting.
gladly share. And honestly, if I hit a brick wall with it, and it's looking like this is just a Sisyphean effort or something, and I have to stop,
Mm-hmm.
then at least I'll have learned a whole bunch of stuff about how these types of things work. I mean, it's really illuminating sort of my understanding of SwiftUI as well, as I sort of prod and poke and go, how does SwiftUI even do these sort of things? And it's just a bit I've never really considered before. So
Yeah.
yeah, um, it's kind of fun. But anyway, I am a nerd, Daniel, and this is me nerding out.
Do nerd out, please.
Ah,
Yeah,
but
because I think like this is also what
yeah,
gives you a lot of fulfillment. Like actually one nerding out and B like also deciding to nerd out because you want to nerd out about it. So yeah.
yeah, and that's applying to the project, right? Like it's you know, this is like I say, an endeavor for me to scratch the itch, if you like, and do my own thing with it. But it's also kind of like resolving some of my I want to say not animosity, but like misgivings with certain things with Apple to some degree. Like, hey, what have I discovered this year? I tried doing other forms of cross-platform dev, discovered that I really loved Swift. I missed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but regardless of wherever anything is at with Apple, the corporation or whatever, I actually like Xcode and I like Swift a lot. And to the side of that, I also like certainly the idea, I'm not there yet, but the idea of not being reliant on one company completely for everything I build. So I'm glad Swift is open source. I'm glad there's the Swiftlang group. Um, and yeah, if there's a route here to eventually go VJ on Android, then I'll be really, really stoked because,
Wow. I wish I
yeah.
could build my user interface in Swift. I miss it so much. Like I sent you a message the other day too, where I was like, I have to write HTML and JavaScript and CSS, and it looks nice
Yep.
in the end and stuff like that. But like, it feels like building a like a sandcastle on the beach, and every now and then
Yeah.
it's like the waves come in and it's just gone. Like you think like, oh, this tower would be cool on the other side of my castle. Well, you can't just grab it and put it over there because like everything will fall apart. I don't know. This is a bad
Yes.
analogy. Web
It's not though,
developers
because it's
are
like
hard people, like really strong people, is what I'm saying.
they are. They are. It's a very fluid and interesting stack, I think. But to extend your analogy, for me, it feels like because I don't do web development, so every time I come back to it after months, years, or whatever for something, it feels like, oh, people don't use this bucket anymore. They use this other bucket. And by the way, we're building on this side of the beach, not that side of the beach now. Like
Yes.
yeah.
What something that is happening that is pretty cool is every 2 months or so, I discover that another thing that used to be an abstraction kind of clumsily built in weird CSS hacks is now an actual browser feature that is already being supported by enough browsers so that you can use it. Like
Yes.
overlays, for example, like anything that's a modal dialog or a context menu can now be like, okay, this is an overlay. It belongs. It's anchored to this element. It can be animated in. So yeah,
I love that.
that's nice.
I like that is one thing I do love about it is that over time it keeps adding more and more. So I certainly don't want to put web development down in any way because you know it's kind of amazing as well though that a web page from 30 years ago, 20 years ago displays just as well pretty much now if it's using HTML, you know. And yeah, I'm sure there's facets I could be wrong on, but I would assume as well a web page with pure HTML and CSS from 10 years ago should still display pretty much the same
Right.
now. Yeah, and that blows me
But
away a
still,
bit because it's cool.
there could be various tiny things that would make my life a bit.
They're kid, and I'm sorry, dude. I suggested to you in that moment, you should have a DSL of some sort, and maybe there's some stuff that exists.
No, there are DSLs and everything. Like putting more abstractions on that huge stack of abstractions is actually not the answer, I think.
No, it's not, because whatever it writes out to underneath is still going to need maintenance and require you to know that bit. Like, yeah, if you've got a templating
Right.
system it's calling or whatever, you still need to have that. So
You
yeah.
know, like 10-second fun story from web design land. Apple released an app store version for the web. So, you know, there's a website where you can browse the app store.
Okay.
And fun thing about it, they have maybe accidentally included what is called the source maps. So when you deliver JavaScript and like HTML to like as an application, you usually minify it, like kind of obfuscate.
Yeah.
It's not obfuscated, but like
Yeah.
it's minified as all the variables are just like single names, like all the spaces
Yes.
are removed, stuff like that.
It's almost like compiling to
Right,
object
because
code
that's
or
just
something.
more like
Yeah.
faster to download, and everything is one file,
Yes.
stuff like that. But then what you can also do, you can deliver additionally to your browsers in development, you can just deliver a source map, which is a JSON file that kind of allows you to decompile that thing and view the original source code. And Apple has, with their App Store for the web, actually is delivering, or has delivered until recently, the source maps to end users in production, which is something most people don't do. Like, some people are like, "Oh, Apple made a huge mistake! Ha ha ha! Look at them!" And I think it's actually not. Maybe it was even on purpose. I don't know. But even if it's not, whatever. And so people are like, "Oh, Apple is leaking their whole source code! Ha 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 ha!" And I'm like, "Yes, the source code is always there." But on the other hand, it is interesting. For a quick second, someone even mirrored the source code on Google on GitHub before it got taken down. But it is interesting that what Apple is doing with the web stacks and stuff like that. So that's a tiny story from Apple and web developer land.
If I did more web development, I'd definitely be curious to find it and have a look. But Daniel, we probably are at time really today.
We're at the end.
The end is nigh.
We need to re-add chores to the outro. I forgot the chores the last few days. So
you did.
Thanks for listening. Your chore this week is clean yourself up. Do one thing that really needs to be done. Like not only when you brush your teeth, maybe also floss them. If you do your hair, maybe also add in some product that makes your hair extra nice. Do something for yourself. Make yourself look pretty, because you are pretty and lovely and wonderful. Thanks for listening. Please rate us on iTunes and YouTube. Send us emails at contact@waitingforreview.com. And also send us listener feedback to that email address, actually. Also join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. Dave, where can people find you?
Well, I mentioned I'm more active on Mastodon again. So I am mastodon.social/@lightbeaminsight. I will link that in the show notes to make it clickable and easy. How about yourself?
Find me at daniel@social.telemetrydeck.com, which is still running, still good, and still my main source of online entertainment. So thank you, Mastodon.
Awesome.
Mastodon.
Well, I'm going to figure out what my chore is. I think, looking at the state of me on camera, I'm probably going to cut my hair.
Fantastic. I need to shave and re-dye my beard, I think.
Well, I'll send you a photo next week.
Yes. Or in 2 weeks, if I actually made it.
We'll be right. Take care, Daniel.
Bye.